Hi, how are you doing? Good to Singaram again. This is session 4 under the business incubation. We're going to talk about business planning today. As always, we like you to take 30 seconds to jot down what you hope to achieve end of the session. Okay, let's get started. While doing business planning, first of all, you need to understand the plan. What is it for and how is it going to bring you success in the long term for your principal stakeholders? You also now have to implement your feasibility study for an incubator, which you've already done, where you had done market analysis, stakeholder analysis, and also your role of the business plan for an incubator, how you're going to bring in the business model. So these are some of the things we're going to talk about in this session. Now, next step is to implement your your feasibility study, which you had done, which had a detailed study about the target market, your directions, physical location, services you're going to offer, skills you need to manage the incubator, and then you need to put your business plan into action. It includes setting up a dynamic vision and mission statements and its stakeholders for an effective business planning. So all this is extremely important. Now, what does the business planning require? One, you need to have a strategic plan which will set your vision, your mission, and key strategy objectives of the incubator. The business plan will talk about how you achieve your objective and will include detailed financial aspects, what you're going to spend for, how you're going to generate income, which will then decide your sustainability. Now, how do you develop a vision and mission statement, a dynamic one? You could get an external expert in incubation to come along and help you brainstorm to get your vision and mission. If you have resources, if you are short of funding, then you need to find somebody within your organization who will be a neutral stakeholder who can brainstorm and help you come up with your vision and mission statements. You need to look at challenges like local rivalry and different points of views within the whole setup. If there's already 10 incubators in the vicinity, how are you going to be different? What value you will create different from them, and how will you be able to sustain? The statement has to be agreed by all stakeholders for long and short term effect of high aim. The three components of mission statement is what your incubator does. Very important. You need to define what your incubator does. Then the overall purpose of your incubator is also important. And next thing is what is important to your business. These are the three components you would apply to make sure you get your mission statement. Once you've done that, the essentials of a good mission statement is first you need to brainstorm to ensure that you support the launching of the incubator. So that's the first thing you need to do, brainstorm how you're going to launch your incubator. Next, it will help you in the market research and in understanding the needs of a potential entrepreneurs. That is why it is important to have a good mission statement. You need to do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to understand the incubator's potential in the market, and then giving reference about financial details. How will you fund it? Will you get private funding? Will you get public funding? And then you need to create the business creation must be the main objective of your mission statement. Now, the strategic and action plans. First of all, you need to define the core values of your organization, your incubator, and then you need to coordinate all activities under a common theme. And then you have to have 4 to 5 strategies from which goals and action plans will flow. This is how you set up your strategy and action plan. And what is the business plan? The business plan will need to talk about the objectives of your incubator, unique characteristic of your business of your incubator, and how will you sustain it for a success. Survival of a business depends on its revenue and profits. A source used to generate revenue is the business, so you need to be careful. Your incubator is just like any other organization. It needs to be able to generate income, revenue. In order for you to sustain, you must be profitable. Now, how do you self-sustain? You need to have deal flows, you need to have government policies and funding sense. Let's look at each one of these in turn. How do you get deal flows? By having pre-incubation, by running programs, by inviting speakers, running seminars, having hackathons, and so on to attract talent into your incubator. What could be an issue? Your design of incubator might not be suitable and people may not like to come. There might not be the critical mass in what you're trying to do. For example, you might want to do life sciences where you don't have many people who are going into life sciences tech the startups. Then it might be difficult for you to get the critical mass and then to have networks. If you have networks, you can get deal flows. So these are some of the things you need to worry about when you're self-sustainability. Government policy. The success or failure of a startup is important in terms of country's economic stability. So the policies will have to be friendly. Public-private partnerships are important for long-term stability where public goal is handled by a private sector. In order to maintain public support, it's important to adapt to the trends, what's happening in the market. Fundamentals of an incubator, such as market, service, and objectives, must be reviewed constantly. A business plan is a life document. Self-sustainable is the third objective is to financial. How would you finance your thing? How would you raise financial? It's an important key factor when sustainability is considered. Even if a business is being funded by the government, the startup must be efficient enough to generate its own funds as the government keeps changing, and so do policies. So you need to always be able to generate your own income. You might first depend on a grant or a funding agency, but after that you need to worry about your own self. Self-sustaining in financial strategy to be used and time taken to accomplish has to be planned in early stages. So this is something you need to start from the start. How long will it take you to become sustainable? So that's very, very important. Now let's look at the incubator business plan. First of all, the fundamental stage for a startup to plan their ideology and design plans. So you need to design and plan. An important stage for seeking funds that has to be covered in your business plan. This has to be upgraded on a regular basis and provide answers before establishing. It extends the market and verifies access to finance and other resources. So a business plan will take care of all these things. What does a business plan cover? It covers the business goals, it talks about time required to achieve it, and what you require in terms of resources. And then it talks about the results and assumptions about the feasibility study. And then it talks about resolving if any problem remaining. And then you need to have a performance monitoring and evaluating against a benchmark so you know your incubator is doing a good job. A business plan will cover, once you've done your business plan, the first couple of pages is called the executive summary. This will cover the entire complete business plan in a summary. So anyone who wants to read your business plan could get a quick understanding what you're trying to do. And if these couple of pages are of not interest, nobody reads the rest of the business plan. So you need to ensure that the executive summary is crisp, easy to understand, and it gives that impact. Here you would also have to have vision and mission, and you need to also work on your strength, weakness, and also opportunity and threat analysis. Our innovation and entrepreneur ecosystem in which the incubator aims to operate must be explained. So this is a very, very important part of your business plan. The strategic objective is to explain when the incubator stands in achieving its vision and impact. These are the objectives. This is how you achieve your vision, your mission. The business model. This will explain the type of incubator, geographical scope, and target market you are looking at. And the marketing plan will explain the marketing policies, comparative advantages, and the process to reach the target market. You also need to cover in your business plan how you're going to manage and operate an incubator. So this will talk about how to avoid unnecessary expenses if you have all this planned. You need to have a good financial management plan. You need to explain the investments, what's going to cost, what is the expenses, and all the other financials in detail. The strategic plan will outline the development incubator along with the risk management, performance monitoring, and evaluation. These are important components of the business. Now, the marketing plan should have an executive summary. It should talk about the overall business objective. It should talk about the current services to track quality clients that directly contribute to the sustainability by identifying and securing deal flow. So these are very, very important. A marketing plan should have a clear target on business, who you're going to be your customers, how you're going to reach them. Explain the specific needs, what are the needs, explain how it reaches the target market, and you must have a promotion plan. Without a promotion plan, you can't hit your target market. So very, very crucial. Now, what are the points to be considered? You need to look at your product portfolio. What are you trying to do? You need to look at your service accessibility. You need to have an employee-client relationship. How are you going to do these? You need to have a pricing model. You got to have a delivery, service delivery. You need to create awareness. These are some of the points you need to consider when you're putting your marketing plan together. And then the revenue resources of an incubator. First of all, you need to define how you are going to have a business model to attract your clients. So you need to set the rental, possibly not at commercial rate or higher for the type and quality of space offered. So you need to ensure all these are in place. You need to have facilities like faxing, photocopying, internet are vital. Models for equity must be for 10-year period. So all this would be your source of income. Convincing the entrepreneur to use scarce resources. Clearly defining the market strategy, it is important for future action. You need to be selling the incubator service through credible personnel that have sufficient training and experience to explain the service offered, using past and current successful clients coming out of the company, of the incubator. So all this would help you generate new entrepreneurs coming in your ecosystem. Next thing, managing and operations planning. Again, this is very important. You need to be able to make modular spaces for pre-incubator clients with a reasonable rent or lease, depending what you want to do. Next, offering shared space with small working areas. Provide assistance in finding larger premises in the later stages. So here there could be co-working, and then they might move on to bigger places later. Now, what's the advantages of a shared premises? First thing, the ability of shared services, such as common reception, meeting rooms, you can share them. So you don't have to spend excess money when you don't need them. You get high speed broadband at a lower cost. You get a chance to network and cooperate with other tenants and meet others. Easier to access mentors, test, tested experts, consultants, and other services. It assists you in raising funding and marketing benefits. There's lots and lots of help from a shared premises. What is the disadvantages of the shared premises? You could be having low identity status. But however, saying that if the premises, the incubator is in a prestigious institution or a prestigious organization, your value of your startup also goes up. Higher charge in high profile sector focused incubators. So some incubators will charge you high if they're in a higher focus area. Loss of independence because you still have to report to them what you're doing. Being seen to need support. Of course, that's not a disadvantage. Everybody needs support, so I guess that's not too bad. Advantage of physical incubation over virtual incubation. First, it's more tangibly visible in market space. So if you are incubated in a place, it's easier to show the market that you are serious in sitting there. It also improves the chances of ongoing support. It improves the access to clients and customers. It gives you better opportunity for networking with client companies because you're always present in the center. So whenever something happens, some visitors come, some talks, some mentors, you're able to get direct access to all this. Now, staff requirement. You need to hire people for your administration, finance, legal, human resources, and information technology. You don't have to have permanent employees here. You can depend on your host institution to help you with some of these activities because they already would have some. If not, you can always outsource them. And development or maintenance of the physical environment, you need to work on that. You need to provide quality business development. You need to give them service to clients. You need to help them in terms of marketing, stakeholder management, and PR. And you also need to help them in terms of planning, reporting, monitoring, and evaluation. All this your staff will have to help you with. Now, what is a manager's responsibility? First of all, is to prepare specific programs to develop the people working for them. Encourage staff to continue working for the incubator, and support their skill development. Motivate tools can be used to maintain workers' enthusiasm, create environments that support efficiency, productivity, and help employees enjoy their work. So it is the responsibility of the manager to create an environment where people want to work. Now, the incubator's goal should be to contribute to local economic development, provide support for the development of new businesses, increase the survival rate of a business in the market, decrease startup market failure probability, foster innovation and entrepreneurship activities. This is the goal of the incubator. What are the services you're going to offer? You need to give them business facilities, consulting assistance, entrepreneurial education, business plan development, market research, very important. You need to give them network facilities. You need to help them with administration service, provide them with accounting and legal consulting. All this has to be packaged as your service offering to your tenants. Now, what is next? As always, you need to identify your key takeaway from this lecture. How does it relate to you, and how are you going to share it with others? Very, very important. Now, we will always acknowledge we have taken references from InfoDev Business Incubation Toolkit. How do you I thank you for your participation. How do you contact me? As usual, my email muthu.singaram@viberzone.com. My telephone number is 97909 You can pick up some books in our books in Amazon, and also you can check out on my YouTube channel, which is what you're watching this on. And the next session will be the following Wednesday, depending on my time schedule. And I thank you once again for watching this session.